Commissioner Vandegrift to lead us in prayer and ask Commissioner Palmer to lead us in the pledge.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come before you, Lord, come before your throne. And Lord, we just want to offer up our praises to you and thank you, Lord, for the blessings that you've given to each one of us, Lord. Lord, we'd also like to hand over our cares to you, Lord. We pray for those who are sick, Lord. We pray for those who've lost loved ones. We pray for those who suffer from addiction, and we especially pray for those that don't know your love and your salvation, Lord. Lord, please help us as we make decisions. Help us to have clear minds and be kind and have wisdom in what we're doing. In Jesus Christ's most holy and righteous name, amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. Next item on the agenda is appearance of citizens. Anyone want to address the committee on anything that's on the agenda or not on the agenda? If you would come forward, sir. State your name and your address, please.
My name is Michael Packer, 201 Jefferson Lane, Clinton, Tennessee. I'm a member of the Anderson County Veterans Advisory Committee. And I'd like to talk about the pay raise for our VSO. I've heard rumors that said that he requested himself the pay raise. That is incorrect. At the last advisory meeting, myself and the other McCamey brought the subject up for discussion. We brought it up. I'd like to give you some numbers. They talk about he has no direct reports. He averages 6 phone calls a day. Got to change glasses. 7 phone calls a day, 8 forms per day. And we got to remember that when the veterans come in to talk to him, they found a helpful ear. They want to talk about their experiences. And these take time. You get on the phone and they found, well, back on Used to Fish or Used to company I was in when I was in the military, someone to talk about. All these take time. He has no admin support. He does this all himself. He also coordinates with the other veterans organizations to give help to veterans. Sometimes they'll need a home. Sometimes they need money. He does all this himself. He has no one to help him. He has, since he's been here, he brought in approximately $3 million. He's averaging, right now, last year we brought in 6.9 to the county, projected 8.1 mil coming in. I think that number is going to be low because we are bringing a lot of retroactive reclaims, refiles. This man works by himself. No one to help, no one to call. And I think he deserves the pay raise. He does a lot for the county. He does a lot for the veterans. He goes to schools. He goes to parades. He supports the breakfast all by himself. And I think he deserves the pay raise. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Yes, sir. Please state your name and address, please.
My name's Dan Orange from Oliver Springs, and I'm the first vice of American Legion Post 112. I'm here with our commander, Michael Braden, and we're a nonprofit organization helping veterans with their benefits and programs. We also help widows and children of deceased veterans. Also, we are a big support of our growing community in Oliver Springs, but we can only do this with donations and sponsors. We need to do some major repair and renovation to our building, and so we can do a better service to the veterans and the families we have. We are a tri-county post, Morgan, Roane, and Anderson County. 63% of our 97 members are in Anderson County. So most of our members live in Anderson County. So I'd just like to let you know that we're putting in a budget for the nonprofit organization. It'll be here this week, tomorrow, or by Monday. And we'd appreciate if the committee, nonprofit committee, would take a look at it and think about what we need to do. Because 5 years ago, we put a roof on the building, and we cleaned the floors and painted, but we still need to do a lot more. We have some electrical issues we need to, and so if we can get our heat and air furnace fixed, it's real old and we keep putting Band-Aids on it, but sooner or later we're going to need a new system, and we know how expensive that is. And also our kitchen can use some work. Not only do we hold meetings and events, like last Friday we had potluck dinner for the whole community. It was a great turnout, and we really enjoyed it. So the kitchen area needs some more painting inside and out. And our building is for rent for anybody that wants it for 2 hours or 8 hours for the very same price, $125. You get your $25 back if you clean up after yourself. So I sure appreciate the moment you're giving us right here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Did you have some items about the Legion you wanted to pass out? All right, if you'll bring them up to the chair, please. All right, thank you. Any other citizens want to address the Budget Committee at this time? Go ahead, sir. Please state your name and address, please.
My name is Colt Jennings, live at 430 Douglas Lane. Good afternoon, everyone. Last month, I emailed every member of this committee concerning wages and benefits to the Sheriff's Office. And I hope everyone had time to read it and look over it. And a special thank you to Commissioner Palmer for responding. To summarize that email, it showed that Anderson County deputies' wages are not competitive and our benefits are the most expensive for our employees. But today I want to focus on funding and revenue. Anderson County's median household income is approximately $60,000, which makes us the 9th wealthiest county in Tennessee using that metric. Anderson County's median property tax rate is $966, which is the 11th highest in the state. That puts us in the top 10% of the state for wealth and taxes, yet our sheriff's office can't afford basic equipment or have competitive wages. For comparison, Robertson County, it's west of Nashville, nearly identical population, 74,000. We have 80. Their starting pay for deputies is $66,000 a year. That's $20,000 higher than us for a county the same size. Roane County, right next door, they have 25,000 fewer citizens than we do, but yet their starting pay is $5,000 higher. And I've got one more comparison. Santa Rosa County, Florida. I used to work for the sheriff's office down there. That county dedicates 28.3% of their budget just to the sheriff's office. And it's actually one of their top priorities, and it's stated in their budget proposal right here. This is their budget proposal. Anderson County, 10% for the sheriff's office. So my question to this committee is, how are counties that are larger, smaller, equal size, and even poorer able to fund their sheriff's office better than us? Does anyone have an answer right now? If you don't, that's okay, but I'd definitely like to have one.
Mr. Chairman, I think we have made great strides to our sheriff's department in the last 10 years. I don't resent what you're saying, and I appreciate your effort, but I think we've made a great effort to bring the sheriff's department's pay up.
And we're still lagging drastically, like drastically.
Okay, what if we hadn't made, We're doing the best we can.
Are we?
I think
How are all the other counties, larger and smaller? Yes, sir.
We appreciate you coming and bringing this to our attention.
Okay. Can I
The
respond to
appear-
this?
No, sir. The appearance of citizens
Yes.
is not a back and forth unless it's something that we add to the agenda for a later date. What you're bringing forth is a budgetary issue. This is budget season, so we will be having many, many meetings in the next few months to address the questions that you're bringing up. You can certainly return at that time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stay here for this whole meeting.
Sure.
And if anybody has any questions, please come see me afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else wants to address the committee at this time before we get started with our regular agenda? All right, hearing none, moving on. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve? Commissioner Palmer moves to approve, seconded by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. The agenda is approved. Next item is purchasing contracts with legal review. Robbie, go ahead, sir.
Yes. So we have 5 purchasing contracts with legal review. We actually have 7 now. The other 2 purchasing contracts pending legal review. They've all been reviewed by the law director and approved for legal review. So 7 contracts. We can take them all as a group if you'd like.
Make a motion to approve as a group.
Commissioner Beauchamp makes a motion to approve the contracts as a group.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hear none. All in favor say aye. I'm sorry. Hold
Sorry.
off. Commissioner
I'm
Palmer,
not
go
sick.
ahead.
I just have a couple of questions. Let's see. I wanted to make sure that the health department, that's a no match, correct, Mayor? We have no match in that.
That's correct, but the budget amendment is incorrect, and the state is, that budget document that's in there has a improper calculation, and that is being corrected by the state.
Okay. And Robbie, did we set, I think I saw this in the budget agenda, we set aside the money for the EOC?
We already have.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. And just another quick question. Why is Arcadis no longer providing the services? Is there a particular reason and I'm glad since we're getting it for less money.
They just said they were moving away from that type of business. I guess that just
Okay.
annual testing kind of stuff, that their business model was moving away from that.
Just wanted to make sure there wasn't an
Yep.
issue or anything.
Yep.
All right, thank you. I'm good, thank you, sir.
Any further discussion?
That's it.
Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, and under the surplus vehicles, we just give this from information only. We actually have sold them all by now, but I didn't bring the form up that had the other winning bids on there. We sold the 2007 Ford E150 for $4,272. Starting bid was $500. So,
That's
just for
awesome.
information.
Okay.
Great.
Moving on, the cash and fund balance report.
Okay, cash and fund balance report. It's for January, month ending January 31st, 2024. The general fund, restricted funds are at 2.2 million. Committed funds are 518,537. Assigned funds, 4.5 million. Unassigned fund balance, 11.6 million. For a total fund balance of $19,021,971. Cash, $20,635,237, which is up $989,445 from last year at this time. The schools fund balance $10.8 million, cash $17.4 million. Any questions on the cash and fund balance?
Looks good.
Okay, sales tax really quick. 4.2 million collected in December as a whole, up 5.6%. Anderson County's portion 507,665 is down from 532,307 last December. And I didn't put a grants or an ARP worksheet in here, but I will have that for commission to go in. None of that, neither one changed as far as from last month, but I'll make sure to have those for commission meeting.
Moving on to the consent agenda.
Okay, on the consent agenda, we have budget amendments 1 through 4. That's page 118 in your on your agenda. 1 through 4 as transfers. Take as a group, or we can. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Bochamp moves to approve items 1 through 4 as a group, seconded by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carries.
Okay, 5 through 9 are from the school department. 3 appropriations and 1 transfer. Seeking approval as a group.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Bochamp moves to approve items 5 through 9 as a group, seconded by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Commissioner Palmer.
Dr. Parrott, do we have, I noticed that special ed's buying a couple more cars. We've been purchasing quite a bit of cars here lately. I wonder, do we know how many cars we have?
No, these are vans for special ed.
Okay.
And so what they do is the John Downey and Motor Pool, he tells us in both of the ones that they're purchasing, the other ones, the motors are blowed up in them.
Okay.
And it costs more to fix them than it does to do those.
So he keeps the fleet, all of the,
Yes.
okay, I didn't know if it was separate,
Yep.
that's all.
Yep.
All right, thank you very much.
welcome.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 10 through 13 are from the highway department. 2 of those are vehicle insurance, or 1 of those is vehicle insurance. Restricted for highway, 140,000, machinery and equipment supplies and maintenance repair, and also restricted for highway, $20,000 for capital equipment.
Motion to approve as a group.
Motion by Commissioner Smallridge to approve items 10 through 13 as a group. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Bochamp. Any discussion?
I'm sorry, and 13 was a transfer by payroll. I didn't. So, yeah.
We still good with the
Yes,
group?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 14 is an appropriation from the county clerk, increasing titles, additional fees, title and registration, $9,800, and printing stationery forms, rentals, and data processing.
Do we have a motion? Commissioner Bochamp moves to approve item number 14, seconded by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, and the next one is from planning, from Marjorie Tinker. We're increasing motor vehicle $4,373 and increasing insurance recovery. Placing funds in to help for upgrades on a new truck for the zoning office or planning.
Motion by Commissioner Allen to approve item number 15. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 16 through 18 are from the mayor. The first one is $980,980 from the assigned funds 34785, which is just a suggestion from the mayor. It could also come in unassigned. It's for the Emergency Operations Center, the matching portion of that grant for that building. I might as well take that one separate since it's so large and there might be some questions. And that was approved back in the minutes from April 17th, 2023.
So that's item number 16.
Yes.
And you said from assigned?
It's right, we have it, we did list it as assigned, the
Okay.
money, where we send the rollover funds each year. There's approximately 4-point-something million in there. And, but it could be unassigned fund balance if y'all don't want to take funds from there as either one.
Yeah.
So
Just
whatever
clarifying.
motion is made, if we could, if the maker of the motion could designate where they want that to come from, that'll probably save us a lot of time later on. So do we have a motion?
16 only.
You're aware that place to put it at.
So we've got the unassigned fund balance or
The assigned funds, you know where we do the rollover funds from our budget each
from
year?
each year, right?
We built up like 4.2 million in that code, so we thought that might be a place to take it from.
The unassigned?
Yeah.
Yeah. I make that motion.
From the assigned?
Unassigned.
Unassigned.
Oh, unassigned?
No.
I said assigned funds.
Assigned.
Okay,
Capital.
assigned.
The capital.
I'm sorry,
Assigned
the
and
assigned. There we go.
Assigned.
Fund balance, all right.
I'll second.
Hearing the I'm sorry.
All right.
told y'all.
Motion by Commissioner Allen to approve item number 16 coming from the assigned fund balance, seconded by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 17 and 18 are also from the mayor's office. 17 is $17,356 for a new position for pretrial and a small pay increase for the director. And 18 is a $2,500 increase in senior center donations to other supplies and materials.
So we are on item number 17.
And 18, but
And
we can
18.
take them separate if you like.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Beauchamp makes a motion to approve item number 17 and 18 as a group. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion?
I have one, just
Commissioner Palmer.
a clarification. The reason for this is because added duties have been given, mandated from the
Mandated.
state
Yes,
to pretrial release.
yes.
We have in our packet a job description, what kind of increase in activities they're going to have, and we also have all of that information here. So I just wanted to clarify that and make sure that that was known. This isn't just asking for a pay increase.
Correct.
This is something that has been put on us by the state to
Yes.
do.
And I did come back in October and kind of apprise you because the courts and District Attorney General, the jail team, all of us have been dealing with this, and they have been handling the extra work right now. And in fact, the director even reached out and she was like, what's the timeline? Because, I mean, like one evening she had, the scope is just increasing, the scope of work.
Okay.
And she was, after hours, which is usually kind of a one-off here or there, and now it's becoming a very regular thing.
Right.
So I have talked with Trustee Copeland about space because they have some larger space down there for the tax freeze, and the trustee is willing to move to where the bailiffs are currently, and then the bailiffs would go to pretrial. But I have not put that on an agenda yet. I will try to add that to operations if there's a favorable vote here. I didn't want to get ahead of myself and do a switch if the budget committee wasn't inclined to approve it.
And the extra duties are due to the electronic.
Yes, they're electronic monitoring
Elec-
requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
And-
courts did not know where to house that,
Right.
and so it's fallen to pretrial. So,
Commissioner Beauchamp.
Mayor, I don't know if you knew, but I saw where somebody had put through a proposal today to put GPS on like 8 or 9 other charges being released. So I don't know where that's going to go, but just wanted to give you the heads up on it. I read that today.
okay,
And it was like 8 or 9
wow,
new additional to what we're doing now.
okay.
And when this was brought up first time, I expressed my concern. I really just don't like this, tracking people. I understand, and I see the need, whatever, but it just makes me real uncomfortable. But unfortunately, it is something that we have been told we have to do from the state, so.
Yes, and it's more than just tracking the offender, it's also notifying the
Yes.
victim. And so you're having to put a list of places, and so there's dual responsibility there. There's a lot of liability that's now going to be placed on the county for that. a lot of staff, and it's really one of those unfunded mandates. There is definitely a need. I mean, there have been some horrible stories, and you've seen where this can be effective in notifying the victim. But it's also got its cons for local government too. So
It's unfortunate we live in
yes,
this kind
yes.
of a time and world. But
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 19 and 20 are from the Finance Department. The first one is increasing the assigned for capital projects. That is the fund we just used for the $980,000, $536,587. This is the rollover money where we do 20% of the general fund rollover. We had 2.6 million this year, and the new balance in that code will be 4.5 million, but we did just use some of that money, almost $1 million.
That's where it came from,
But this
okay.
will help increase that back, so. And the second one is $70,000 for other contracted services for the parks, for the shoreline, the erosion problem. We moved this money last year and it rolled into fund balance because they weren't able to use it, but now they're ready to. I think we have to have some trees cut down by March before the bats
Yes.
come out. So,
Yes.
and then it becomes a problem. So we're trying to get those cut down on the shoreline as quickly as possible.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Beauchamp moves to approve items 19 and 20, seconded by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion?
Question.
Commissioner Smallridge.
Robbie, again, what's the balance in that line item?
So it was, sorry. With this deposit, it would have been let me get back to that one. It would have been 4.5 million, and what did we just?
960.
About 3.5 million, a little more like 3.7 million. I'll have to find that last, here it is. I can do some quick math. Sorry, Kevin.
It should be like 4.6.
$3,575,828.
And do we have projects lined up?
No, we've just been putting money in there, moving it from the unassigned fund balance to assigned for capital projects.
So that'll probably be part of budget deliberations upcoming.
It could be, yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, number 21 is a transfer of a payroll from EMA for $9,000 to part-time from office supplies, uniforms, furniture and fixtures, and building improvements.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Beauchamp moves to approve item number 21, seconded by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, 22, I'm going to take the sheriff's department separately because, or at least 22, and then 22 and 23 are both insurance recovery. One's insurance recovery, the other is law enforcement training program, where we've received the revenue already, and we're moving it to an expenditure code to spend the funds. So both of those are just increase insurance, increase revenue, and increase expenditure codes, $3,105.22 and $12,000. We can take those two as a group if you'd like.
So we're on items 22 and 23?
Three, yes, sir.
Okay.
Motion to approve as a group.
Commissioner Bochamp moves to approve items number 22 and 23 as a group. Seconded by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
So 24 is a budget amendment that we need $250,000 more dollars in the jail medical and dental code at the detention facility. We are down to 12,939 available in the code still. And when I talked to Zach Tuesday, he asked me if I knew of any other ideals besides unassigned, and I didn't. But then I ran a count analysis, and I did get to thinking that our jail, our inmate medical revenue is currently, after 6 months, at $1.8 million. In comparison, last year it was at 648. So I do think we can increase the revenue in that contracted prisoner boarding, 250,000, and increase the expenditure code instead of taking it from unassigned. Because I think we're projected to be over $3 million this year, which will be the
For
highest.
medical and dental?
For contracted prisoner
gotcha,
boarding. Because
okay.
I think we are taking on, Shane can actually speak to this better than me, or Zach is right behind me, so. More
Just
state
walked in.
prisoners. Zach,
Chief
you were
Allen,
about
if
to
you
talk
would,
to him.
explain that revenue, please.
We're talking about the board bill?
Yes.
All right, so where we got Tier 2 accredited, we went from $39 a day for housing state inmates to $46 a day housing state inmates. We've been blessed with our judges and court system right now that we've stayed pretty low. So we've reached out to other counties that are in need. We're housing some of their state inmates. I can't remember what the number is, but we're well over, looking at being over 3 million. We projected 2.5, so we should bring in an extra probably $700,000, $800,000 just off that this year.
Do you think, will we get any reimbursement? Sometimes we get reimbursed for the medical bills from the state prisoners.
So we've been real lucky on that, actually. We, as far as I know, we just had one, and that's all we've had, and that just happened this past week.
Okay. Because I was trying to say we haven't had any of that revenue yet.
So when
That's
when we reach out to these other counties and we're talking to them, I don't take anybody that has any medical problems other than basic necessities like a blood pressure or something like that. No disciplinary action, their general population, and actually a lot of them are helping work. So they're doing laundry, keeping the grounds, cooking in the kitchen, those type things.
So I would propose we change that to increase 46915, $250,000 the revenue code instead of unassigned. If you all are okay.
46915.
Which is contracted prisoner board.
Okay. We have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Bochamp moves to approve item number 24. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion?
And I will say we do have to pay these bills, unfortunately, and we have, I think, more than 150,000 coming. So it's one of the reasons we're asking for this amount of money. And if we don't spend it, it will roll into fund balance as well.
Okay,
What
so
we-
this is not saying we have $250,000 worth of medical
No.
bills? Okay.
But I do think we probably have about 150,000.
150.
We do have somebody that's scrubbing the bills still. A company we hired to do that. So, and they do a really good job.
And this is medical and dental?
Well, also, the line item on that's $360,000 a year, I think, right, Robbie?
Yes.
That was one inmate, the one we talked about previously.
Yes.
He ate that whole budget. So actually, I think we're sitting at $148,000 is what we owe right now in this year's current medical. So we're well, excluding that one, we were well under budget. The 250, I'm hoping, gets us all the way through July. So this is all we have to ask for.
Okay.
And we thought that was going to be a lot more, that inmate, so we were lucky on that.
Yeah. Good job.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, and the last one I have from the detention facility is increasing overtime, $75,000, and increasing jailers code by the same amount, $75,000.
Motion to approve.
I'm sorry, who was that? Commissioner Vandergrift moves to approve item number 25. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bochamp. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Okay, and the last.
Just for the record, on that one, I don't get overtime, so that's why I voted for it.
Well, I think-
still done it anyway.
I mean, I asked Zach for his numbers, and I think we're short 15 employees in the detention facility currently.
Well, and I was going to make that comment, but I feel like I'm talking too much. But we do, there is a pretty high turnover rate, so thank you for getting that information to us. And that's, you got to
We
pay
have-
overtime when you don't have the staff.
Yeah, currently 59 employees, 8 in training, for a total of 67, but that's still short 15. so.
Okay. Thank you for that.
All right, and the last one I have is from the Election Commission, Mark Stevens. It's increasing voting machine technicians $4,957.88, and election workers $7,711.75, and decreasing voting machine repairs $1,000, postage $5,359.63, and legal notices $6,310. And I attached the letter that Mark provided for the explanation with the budget amendment, and I also put Mark, the election administrator, on the sections that you requested them to come to budget meeting as the next thing, so we could take all this. You want to approve the budget amendment, and then they're up anyway. So.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Commissioner Palmer moves to approve item number 26. Do we have a second? Seconded by Commissioner White. Any discussion? Mr. Stevens, go ahead, sir.
Just that we had the largest election in Anderson County history. We have a new voting system that we instituted in March. It took a lot more labor as far as that's actually, poll workers is basically one poll worker per each location we've got in Anderson County. That's the difference. We needed more technician help to be able to service and staff our voting equipment, and that's what was more overage than we thought. When you do a budget in February, in the first elections, March, you learn a lot. Like I said in the letter, this year was a learning experience with our voting system, and there's things that we need to improve on and increase in our budget, and there's things that we need to decrease. For example, paper. For example, we spent just in the November election about $13,000 in just paper, thermal paper for our new voting system. So that's just one example of things that we're going to have to account for moving forward. Okay.
Any questions for Mr. Stevens?
Not for him. Can I ask Robbie a question?
Yeah.
Does that clear up?
That's
all
the two
things?
codes that are
The
currently
two
in the red,
codes?
yes.
Okay. And I guess I have just maybe a question, and this may be for our law director, maybe a clarification, and not expecting an answer tonight, but maybe next meeting or something. This has been beyond frustrating. It's so odd to have like a state office and we're only responsible for the money. So what if we don't approve this transfer? What happens? And, you know, it almost feels like we're just a rubber stamp, like we're just supposed to rubber stamp everything that comes through here. So I would like to know what authority we do have as the budget as far as the money goes, and what can we do other than make phone calls, beg and plead for a line of communication to keep us from escalating to a vote of no confidence. What other things can we do? And then, you know, just, it seems like maybe this office should be autonomous. And now I'm just sharing my frustrations. I like Mark, no problems with Mark, but if the office is autonomous, can they hire their own accountant? Can they be responsible for all of their HR, you know, the employees? We've got county employees that we have to maintain and take care of too. And our finance director has to look at fair labor laws, finance laws, all of these things. And so it's kind of like, you know, what is our responsibility? What do we do? It's really just kind of frustrating what we are allowed to do and not to do. So if that office was autonomous, would that solve this issue?
When you say autonomous, completely outside of the county structure, where they would have to have funding from the state instead of the county?
Well, I mean, this money comes through the county, and this body is responsible for all the money, and we say yes or no. What if we say no? Does the MOE then kick in and say, You have to stamp it, you have to approve it.
Commissioner Palmer, I don't think so. I believe what the statute provides that governs Mr. Stevens' office is he engages with Budget Committee and with this commission in setting a budget. The statute says he is to receive all reasonable cost of his office. Commission is always the final say-so. The kicker is, if there is an inability to reach a consensus, come to an agreement, everybody agree with what the budget's going to be, Mr. Stevens has the option of going to Chancery Court and present his case to the judge to be awarded what he's asking for. That's the tiebreaker, so to speak. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sort of. It's just very frustrating. It's, anyways, it's unfortunate that it's come to this. I would like to know what we can do in the future to keep this from happening. And maybe, and like I said, that may not be something that you answer, but thank you.
I'm afraid that's something I can't answer.
Commissioner Bochamp.
Robbie, have you got any clarification on the projected 4
No.
that may be in the red?
No, and
Is there
they're not
meetings?
in the red currently, although 207, the insurance code, did go in the red this week, but we haven't.
Is there any talk of
Discuss that.
meetings to fix it or anything like that?
No, but we can schedule one. And
Okay.
I will work with Mark to try to
Okay.
get that taken care of.
All right.
We did talk about it a little today, so.
All right. That's good.
Commissioner Allen.
Yeah, are all the issues with Mark resolved? I think Tabor mentioned that, but are all the things resolved? Are all those 4 or 5 issues fixed?
The 4 motions that were made
Yeah.
by county commission, or by budget committee and approved by county commission, yes, all were including the timesheets that we received this week for the election office employees, except I'd still think, in my opinion, we should get a timesheet from the registrar as well, because he does earn time. So I personally think we should get a timesheet from him as well. And I had Paul send that message, but we did not receive a response back. But that's the only thing I really think that we're not in compliance with, so that you all requested.
Mr. Chairman, there was a no confidence vote. That's kind of hanging over people's heads. Is that resolved in any way, or does that just stay there?
Stays there.
Stays there?
Yeah.
I think the only other option would be a vote to rescind it,
That's all
which
right.
we've already shown
Sorry,
in the
yes.
last couple of meetings that we do on occasion. Commissioner Smallridge.
Yeah, I was wondering, would it be helpful, or maybe not, to send a letter saying, and being sure that everything has been resolved, and it sounds like it has, that we, discussed and collaborated, and we are comfortable with the situation with the election commission and Mark, and I don't know if that would be something people would be, or the budget committee here would be comfortable with, or the commission as a whole.
Commissioner Bochamp.
Chairman, we're going to discuss that again under the section A.
Okay, you wanna
After
wait?
we
Okay.
approve this.
Okay.
To get it, balanced out, because I'd like to hear from the election commission.
Okay.
That's why we brought them here, and then go from there, because I want to see some changes before I'm going to vote to take away anything.
Okay, all right. So, right now, we're on item number 26, which is the amendment. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried. Now, moving on to section A. So, do we have a motion to even discuss at this point?
I'll make a motion.
And what is that motion?
That we discuss these ongoing problems that we've had, because this is not the first time.
Okay.
Addressing the issues with the election commission office and the duties of what the election commission office is to do.
Okay. We have a second. So, we'll open the floor for discussion. Commissioner Bochamp, where would you like to begin, ma'am?
Well, I want to start by, this is several times that we've had to ask the Election Commission to come before us, and nobody came. Mr. Stevens didn't show up. We had the same issue at the budget last year. I think it's an absolute shame that we had to come to the point of a no confidence vote to get all of you to show up tonight. That is very discouraging for this county, that you couldn't take the time to come up here and stand before us to explain what part you were going to play in this to help Mr. Stevens, as his commissioners, fix his budget. There has to be communication. This is taxpayer money, and it has to be done right. We're not going to let some other office run wild. That's not going to happen. And then everybody gets mad and wants to send emails and start calling when we have to do the only thing that we could do. That's the only thing we had. Our hands were tied to get a response. And I hate that it came to that, but sometimes that's just what you have to do to get people to respond when you can't get them to answer an email. I mean, the office is directly across the hall. We've sit here and had meetings. So I hope in the future you'll start properly attending budget meetings when you're coming and asking for money. If you need part-time help, let us know ahead of time. If you got halfway through that almost 3 weeks of early voting that we have, and you knew that you were going to run over the budget, come here. I mean, we would have met. Don't let it go 4 and 5 months to where our budget director is saying, guys, I don't know what to do. He has to answer to us. He answers to us. He tells us what is going on, and he needed some answers. So you all left us with the only option that we had left. We had asked for you to come here. I made the motions several times. I remember making one last budget cycle. Y'all never came. Don't send me an email after the fact saying don't do this, because I didn't have a choice but to make that motion. When somebody's not responding and they won't respond to emails, don't get upset. My favorite line up here is don't get your feelings hurt after we have to do something about it. That's just the way it has to be. But from here on out, as election commissioners, I know what you all are supposed to do. You're not supposed to just go sit in a meeting for 5 minutes, slap each other on the back and say, see you next month, or cancel a meeting without letting anybody know. Your job is to guide him. Your job is to direct him and give him guidance. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. Turn your name back into the state, and I'm sure that Representative Scarborough and McNally would be glad to replace you all. No. But you don't get to sit up here and ask me not to do a vote of no confidence when you don't know what's going on. That was premature. You didn't even know what was going on. So here forward, we have a job to do. We have to manage budgets. So as the chairman, I hope that you'll sit down with him, since you got a lot of experience in it, and help him with his budget. If it's going to be overrun and it's going to be in the red, I hope that you will tell him, I will come to budget with you, Mark. I will sit here as your chairman of Election Commission, and I will help you. And I hope that in the county we don't ever have to get to this again, because it's embarrassing. But moving forward, there's got to be a line of communication. And there has to be, when you've got an office right across from the finance director's office, it's not like you're 5 miles up the street and you need to drive here like some of our organizations. They're right across the hall. He could have responded. And the fact that it had to come to this is so embarrassing. But I will not vote to do a no confidence until I get something better than this that says what is going to happen. How are we going to move forward in the future that says we're not ever going to be in the red again? How is your commission going to move forward with that to let us know that it's never going to happen again? Because I'm telling you, I'm at the point where I'm about ready to only give you what you need, and I'm cutting everything else. Because if you can't stay within your budget, you don't need it. So if we don't want to get to that point, I hope that you all will take the responsibility. Let's move on past this. Don't get your feelings hurt. Let's say it is what it is, and guide him in what you're supposed to do. Y'all got to help him. We can never do this again. And I'm sorry if anybody gets mad. I'm sorry if you get upset. But it can't be like this. Have communication with our finance director. It's simple. That's what we gotta do.
Mr. Chairman, can I respond to that?
Sure.
As you all noticed, the sheet that we passed out here is kind of a snapshot of the budget analysis since 2013. We've never had an audit finding, and we've always come out, if you look, I think it's $653,000 that we've returned to the general fund. Out of control spending is not an accurate assessment. Also, with regard to missing meetings, okay? December, we were at a seminar. I didn't learn that there was an issue until the 3rd of December when we got a letter, and I responded back on the 13th of what our plan was and what we were planning on doing to resolve the issue. We were planning on being here in the January meeting. I had a family situation. My mom's on hospice. My caretaker could not attend that. She couldn't stay, and I had to go basically to go home. As Commissioner White and I have talked about, family does come first. So if you want to, reprimand me for missing that January meeting, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. We're here today. We're taking this very seriously. We're not shirking the responsibilities of what we were responsible for doing. And Commissioner, anything else you want to add?
First of all, I wanted to introduce all of us since their names are used so much in these meetings. I'm Jane Miller, and I'm chair of the Election Commission. And y'all just wave. It's Bear Stevenson sitting here, and Bill Gallagher, Mary Matheny, David Bradshaw. And we are working more closely with Mark on this, and I was just surprised that I hear other departments moving money around in codes, but nevertheless, and then I've never been notified to come to an election meeting. I was one time, and it was less than 24 hours notice. And so I'll be happy to come here and talk with you people anytime you want to, but you're going to have to send me a letter or an email and invite me. It has to be more formal. And I don't read all of the county commission minutes and meetings. And by the way, you need to look at your website, and it's missing about 6 of your last meeting minutes aren't on there.
They're in the county commission minutes. That's where when they're approved in county commission.
No, I believe it's county commission minutes.
No, the county commission minutes are updated, and the budget minutes are approved by county commission. They're in the county commission.
Nevertheless, and on the budget and where we get our money, Ms. Beauchamp, I beg to differ from you, but under Tennessee Code, the law says that you have to give us the money to put on an election, and we do the elections. Mark's perfect at putting on an election. He does great. And if we run over, the law also says that you're supposed to give it to us. So get what you get is not there. Now we don't operate like that, but I just wanted for your edification, since I've heard you say that more than once.
So let me interject something before we go any further, and someone else may have going to say it, and I apologize if I'm jumping the gun. To give everybody a little bit of a timeline, how we got here is, I think, and Robbie, correct me if I'm wrong, it was like 3 or 4 months ago, before a budget committee meeting, you made us aware that there was a possibility that there may be an audit finding from the comptroller's office. And if that were to happen, you would be the one that would be, using hillbilly terms, in the hot seat.
Right. If we finish, any payroll code finishes.
Okay. And you had reached out to Mark in some way, shape, or form. You needed this and this and this in order to correct that issue. And that had not happened at that time. If the comptroller's office is going to hold the finance director accountable for an issue such as that, he's supposed to notify the budget committee, this is what we've got, okay? I understand that there's laws that govern the funding and where the funding comes from and all that, and certainly Mark knows more about that than we do. But as a budget committee, working with our finance director, we certainly have to do something, especially if the finance director is telling us, I need this and this and this from Mark in order to correct this problem. My thought is and I understand the budget and I understand elections cost money. I'm not arguing that point. I'm sure that's correct. If this and this and this that Robbie had said I need to be done would have been done long before now, it probably would not have reached this point, I guess is my point. I don't think anything nefarious is being done. I think it's a process that wasn't followed that may have gotten us into an issue with the comptroller's office. And then that's when we stepped in. I hate that it came to this as well. I'm not mad at Mark, not mad at Bear, not mad at any of us. Got along with Bear all my life. It's not anything personal. It's just us making sure that our finance director has what he's got to have for the process. As long as he gets that, we're good. When that doesn't happen, we've got to do something. And that's how it wound up in this state.
Well, as you can see by that sheet that Mark turned out, we've never had an audit finding in the last 14 years. Since 2013, and we don't intend to have one. So.
And we appreciate that.
The problem is too, if budget committee and county commission doesn't approve these budget amendments, then you're going to get one when you let your code go on the red before you take care of it. Mark, it would be helpful if he was more proactive instead of reactive. I mean, most people in the county, if they know their budget codes are going, if their payroll codes are going in the red, they fix them before they anticipate that. I already know another one of your codes is going to go in the red before year end, based on the 11 payrolls we have, and I've told him several times we still haven't even discussed that. It's better with payroll to be proactive instead of reactive. And that's what's not happening here.
Okay, well, he'll be coming to you more often. I'm sure of that.
That's all we need to do is communicate more
and
often.
vice
We're right
versa
across the
too.
hall.
Feel free. If you think we're about to fall off the cliff, call him, walk across the hall.
I don't think I'm ever going to do that. But yeah.
You're not going to do that?
Fall off the cliff.
Anybody have any more questions or comments on this issue? Any questions for any of the election commission members that have appeared tonight? Any one of you all want to address the committee? Barry, you've always got something to say.
I just wish that Mark Stevens' last name was Jones, because I've been sitting here going through everything, and I keep hearing, I think my name, but it's Stevens, and not Stevens' son.
We'll work on that. Thank y'all. Oh, Commissioner Smallridge, I'm sorry.
Going back to what I was talking about earlier, at whatever point the county commission feels that things have been resolved and we're comfortable that we're on a path forward, that we're not going to have this problem again, would it be, or I'll make a motion that we send a letter saying to whoever we sent the original letter to, just saying that we have resolved things, we were working together, and things are moving along. Now, that may be a couple months, 3 months, I'm not sure, but I think that would be helpful to kind of straighten things out a little bit with some people that may be very concerned at this point. And I'll make that as a motion. Again, leaving the date open.
Okay. So the motion is to rescind the vote of no confidence.
No.
No, there's no way.
No, that was not the motion.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The motion was to send a second letter just saying that, yes, we had a problem for whatever reason. It has been resolved. We're working together very well, budget-wise, and we just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
With a date to doing that, as Commissioner Beauchamp said, she wants to be assured, and we all want to be assured that things are squared away at this point.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Smallridge to send a letter to whom we sent the first letter to, which I think was the Election Commission and the state.
He wasn't making a motion. He's saying that he's willing
Oh.
to make a motion when the time is right.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
He's saying he's willing to make a motion in a couple
Later
of
on,
months when
when
everything
we see
is-
the progress
yeah.
being made. Gotcha. Okay, thank you, sir. Any further comments before I get confused anymore? All right, thank y'all. Next item.
It's a Veterans Officer Commission meeting referral. We have sent this one back and forth several times, so it's back here again. Shane, actually, in County Commission meeting, being the budget chairman, Robert felt like he could fit it back on the agenda, so
Right.
it is on the agenda again.
Right.
I've supplied y'all with some information, comparisons. One thing I do want to say, just so to set the record straight, Scott does have an assistant, a full-time assistant. She is just out right now because she had a baby. But since he started in May or April, he did have a full-time assistant. In March. He had a full-time assistant who we increased her hours from 60 to 80 and her salary, some $20,000 or 16 to 20. But she's out currently on maternity leave, so it's not exactly true that he doesn't have an assistant. He does. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Good. So I guess the motion would be for the approval of the pay raise for whatever amount we say. I think the previous amount was $10,000
And on
annually.
page page 174 in your agenda, I gave you several different options. The 10,400, which was the Veterans Committee recommendation. I kind of cut them in 2,500s after that, 5,000, 2,500, and I did 2,500 twice. I meant to do, but just so you can look at the total cost, which is on the right. Like a $10,400 raises costs the county $11,820 for Social Security, retirement, and Medicare. So.
I've got a question. So during budget season, if we give a percentage raise to all the county employees,
Yes, ma'am.
does the Veteran Service Officer get that raise?
He does.
Okay. How many employees, ballpark, do we have in the county that we are responsible for their salaries?
550.
How many counties? I'm sorry.
550 or so.
So 550 or so employees, of which Mr. Nation is one.
Yes.
Okay.
And I will say too, that's part of what I explained in County Commission. He had a starting salary. He received an additional increase when he got his certification, and then he also got the 4% increase on 7/1 when he started in March the 19th.
Yes.
The increase 426 for the certification, and 7/1 the 4% increase this year in this year's budget. So.
And I see that. Thank you for that information. So we haven't even we've not received the department's budgets yet, correct?
No, I need approval on the calendar and the guidelines before I can send that stuff out.
Okay. For me personally, our expectation is that all of our employees perform excellent. And I know Mr. Nation does a great job. This has nothing to do with performance or with, need or anything like that. Does a great job. There's no question about that at all. But this body's responsible for looking at all 550 employees, and it's just difficult for me to give one employee a 20% pay increase unless we look at all of the employees that we feel like are really below what they should be making. So I'm just wondering, I would feel comfortable if we waited, maybe deferred this until we are in the middle, till we get all of the department's budgets. We kind of see where we're at, if we can give a pay increase this year, all of that information before we make a decision on the one employee. I'd like to make a motion to defer till, what would that be, April?
Budget season.
What?
Budget season.
Well,
Just
April or May?
Robbie ain't gonna let us wait till April.
Or when is? No, I know we're in it, but I'm just saying till we
March,
get
April.
all the other departments and all of that, we kind of see where everybody else is
Well,
going and
the
wants.
procedure for that in budget season is if someone asks for more than the percentage increase, like if we do a 2% or 4% or 5%, they have to come to the budget hearings and present their case. So
Right.
that's what we've always done. So
Because we've had a lot of people come wanting more money, and so this is the time to do that, right?
right.
So should we not wait and have this department in with all the other departments, and we've not even gotten the other departments yet.
Yes.
Now, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just my thinking.
I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
So your motion is to defer
Well, I don't know
until
if
the
it's a
budget
defer or
process,
wait or what.
Commissioner Vandegrift.
Okay, Robbie, so I know we have approved some budget amendments where there was a increase in salaries of some people. But
No, there ain't a motion at all.
is
yet.
this a correct statement? Those departments had the funds, or they had?
Not exactly, no. Like we took tonight, we did an increase today for a position and a small raise for the two employees in pretrial, and it came from unassigned.
Okay, but I think that was a little bit of
was
different.
for the electronic
because
monitoring.
it was a mandated.
Yes,
We didn't
basically.
have any
Most
choice.
of the time, if the money's already in the budget, they don't even come here to ask. They can do it. The department head or elected official can do it themselves. The
So-
problem is this money's not in the budget.
That I was going to say. So the issue is this money was not in the budget.
Correct.
So when we do it for other departments, is because they have
A
the
lot of
money.
times they're transferring from one code,
Code
like
to another.
another payroll code to a different one. But a lot of times it's already in the budget code, and we don't. They do a change of status form through payroll and HR,
Okay.
and then we approve that the funding is available.
Okay.
In the finance office is what the steps are before
Okay.
we approve the raise. We do have a step thing process, but that's it right there.
So at this point in time, this department does not have the funds. It would have to come out of unassigned.
That's correct.
Okay.
Commissioner Varian.
Yes, Robbie, does this pay increase move Mr. Nation up above the salary we had for Leon?
Well, I actually put that in here too as well. Leon finished at 63,317 basically, and after 16 and a half years of service, and this would put Mr. Nation's this raise that was recommended, the 10,400 would be 62,400. So he would be
Still less than what Leon was
$900
making last
less,
year.
possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Nation is doing a better job than Leon did. We thought Leon was the bee's knees, but Mr. Nation's doing a real good job. And you can't compare him with different departments because he works nights and weekends too. You know, he's on call pretty much 7 days a week. He's out there at every breakfast for every kind of group around here, you know. And I feel like he should be making at least what Leon was making. That's why we voted to approve his raise. Now then, you know, like I say, he seems to be doing a better job. So that's my argument in his favor.
Was that salary the salary that was advertised in the paper when Mr. Nation took the position?
No, Mr. Nation took a much lower salary. I mean, like $15,000 less than what Leon was making.
But was that what was advertised, though?
As it was advertised,
Okay.
you know, and everything like that. And that money was in the budget. But since we hired Mr. Nation at a much lower salary, they took that out of the budget. That's why the money's not in the budget.
Okay.
This wouldn't even bring him back up to Leon's salary, and he's been working here nearly a year now. So, like I say, it's still less than what we were paying Leon, and he's doing a better job.
Commissioner Vandegrift.
So Robbie, I've got another question. I think Commissioner Barron just said that they took the money out of the budget, the difference between what we're paying. But did we not move some of that over to the part-time?
The assistant.
Okay.
Pay code.
So-
When we hire someone in at a salary in March, and I put enough money in for the certification, but that was it because that's what the job was advertised for. I'm not going to put $10,000 extra of payroll in the payroll budget code when come July, when we know that that position's not making.
But the county's not putting money in their pocket. We just moved it over to the part-time.
Right.
And, okay.
And
To
benefits,
increase,
yes.
and benefits increase.
Go ahead, Mr. Nation.
I'm just addressing a couple of little things. Yes, I did increase my part-time employee. And you say I have an assistant. Her title is an assistant, but I'm the only one that can file paperwork to the VA. I'm the only one that can communicate with the VA. You know, so all that shoulders on, you know, lays on my shoulder. You know, so yes, my assistant that's out on maternity leave, our FMLA. Yes, she's an assistant. I brought her on full time. You know, so I could delegate some other tasks to her, you know, that way, you know, they can be done. So yes, some money went that way. I did come in at a starting salary of $47,500 as advertised. I did get a raise, but it was a stipulation raise that to hurry up and go to accreditation course, because if I'm not accredited, I can't submit anything for any veteran or widow to the VA. So I quickly went to accreditation course. So yes, I did get a pay raise, and I got the 4% in July, like every other, you know, county employee did. You know, so, you know, am I doing better than Leon? That's for y'all to decide. That's for the veterans to tell you. Some of them are here in this room tonight or this afternoon. You know, but the things y'all don't see or you don't hear about is, you know, I'm the one that consoles the grieving widow. I'm the one that consoles the veteran that says, I served, but I don't deserve anything. How do you break that stipulation and that mindset of that veteran? You know, I'm also the one that reaches out and the numbers, I have a sheet, I can give you the numbers. I have a hard time keeping a tally sheet because I think my time should be with the veteran, not given a tick mark on a tally sheet, okay? There's 3 programs I use. I use VetRespect, which is a local program that allows, that's paid by, this year it was paid by the Tennessee Department of Veteran Services because they're looking at a different program that we were supposed to be going to, and it looks like we're going to stay with VetRespect another year. So you'll probably go back in my budget for next year that I'll have to pay for VetRespect again with the county. Then I use VBMS, which is a VA program. I use shares and teams to communicate with Nashville and VA employees about claims. You know, hey, that, you know, that's what my job is. You know, so those are things I do and things that you don't see, and a tally sheet will never enter, and you will never know about most times, because I'm not a kudos guy. I don't usually run to you to tell you what I've done. You know, it's, you know, that's something I can side with. You know, the other thing I answer that y'all don't see or deal with is when I have a veteran calling and they're having a mental behavioral health process. Do you take care of that, or do I shoulder that? I shoulder that and make sure they get either military one source or another form of behavioral health aid to get them off that ledge and get them taken care of for the day. They not, you know, if they need housing, you know, I will tell you, I coordinate with the American Legion and vets, DAV, and I say American Legion. There's 2 American Legion that covers the county. You know, you heard one speak tonight, but I coordinate with them when I have a veteran that's sitting, living in their car or living on the street. You know, the local American Legion has a deal with Baymont Inn here in town, and they'll put them up for 2 nights in the Baymont Inn. You know, those are things that I do after hours and everything else that nobody ever hears about. You know, so it's on you all. You know, and my job is to take care of veterans, and that's what I'm focused on. So, but I just want to make sure we clarified. Yes, I have an assistant, but her title is really more of a secretary because she cannot submit anything or communicate to the VA on any veteran's behalf or a widow's behalf. Thank you.
Just a minute, I have a couple of questions. I really don't like this comparison to Leon.
I don't either.
I would rather us keep his name out of it. I'm glad you're doing a great job.
Thank you, ma'am.
And Leon did too. I do not want to degrade his name. You mentioned that you're the only one that can go to the VA.
Yes, ma'am.
So the veteran cannot go straight to the VA themselves?
The veteran can, but most veteran, gosh, you put me on the spot with this one.
They can't use the system.
There you go.
Okay.
I didn't want to say older veterans. Most of your veterans, Vietnam era veterans, ma'am, you come to the
help
breakfast.
them. Yeah.
They can't navigate the system. They're not tech savvy, so they have a lot of times. I mean, I've had some come in the office and I've spent 2 hours of my time, and I'm not complaining about it, but helping create them an ID.me account to show them how to get in the system.
Well, let me ask you this. We have 95 counties in Tennessee. Do all 95 counties have a veteran service officer?
I think it's 89 counties actually have them. Some of those counties have part-time employees.
Okay.
Like Roane County has 2 part-time employees doing the job. Campbell County has 2 full-time employees plus a part-time secretary.
I think this county has demonstrated that we love our veterans by providing this position, but also for all of the other things that we have done for the veterans. That is not the question here. And I certainly am not opposed to you getting a raise.
Yeah.
I think that you should get a raise. It is just the procedure, and it is the percentage for me. And so I don't know, I'm one person, but I just want to make that straight, make that known that it has nothing to do with the veterans or your performance or anything like that. It is just, we have got to be consistent and fair across the board, and that's what we're looking at. And we have to manage all, you sit here and you listen, we deal with more than just veterans. There's a ton of things that we have to look at and deal with. So we have to balance this small pot of money and make it go all these places. So that's what we're looking at. It has nothing to do with need or performance or anything like that. It is simply the procedures that we have to follow.
No,
and the
I
process we have
understand
to
that.
go.
I just want to make sure we understood the other things that was there and stuff. And like I said, I hate the comparison to Leon. Leon took a program, and I'll state it, a program that was broke and non-existent 16 years ago, and helped build it. And it's my job, and I even said this during my interview, if any of you said in the interview, it's my job to take it to the next level. And I'm pushing quick, fast, and in a hurry to take it to the next level.
Thank you for that. Our expectation when we hired you was that you would do that.
No,
So thank you
thanks.
very
I appreciate
much.
that. So I really hate the comparison of, well, Leon did this and you're doing this, so I hate the comparison. Just like I had a veteran call this morning and said, I need to speak with Leon. I'm like, Leon retired 11 months ago and stuff, and that's not being mean. And he's like, well, how are you compared to Leon? I don't know. Leon left 11 months ago. I started 11 months ago, so that's the comparison. So thanks for your time.
Yes, sir. Please state your name and your address, please.
My name is Chuck Smith. I live at 323 South Apache. I've known Denise all my life, just about. I'm not the best speaker, but I'm here to support Scott. I'm a veteran of the Navy. Got a lot of health issues. He's helped me a lot. But I shared it with Denise. I've got a nephew who got shot in Iraq. He got shot in the face, spent over a year in Walter Reed. And they denied him his benefits. And he had to go to a VSO, write his congressman. He had a Purple Heart. They said, you never was in a combat zone. These guys play an important role for us. I couldn't maneuver through the channels. When I go to the VA over there, they've even told me that, why don't you put in for more benefits? I said, I don't know how to do it. Well, go see your VSO. I said, who is it? And they said, what county you live in? Anderson, Scott Nation. I said, okay. So I went down there and saw them. I've dealt with Leon too. They're both great. But Scott's helped me so much. And I know budget's tight and cost of living's high. And anything y'all can do to help him, I'd appreciate it. And I know all the veterans would. Because like I said, just going through that system, there's most of the people that work at the VA are civilians. Not a lot of empathy, not a lot of understanding of the environmental hazards, burn pits, things we're exposed to. So I just ask you for consideration.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
sir.
you for your service too.
Do we have a motion that anyone wants to make at this point?
There was a motion on the floor. Denise made a motion to defer to budget season.
Well, is that appropriate, Robbie, to do that, or
Take this into consideration through the normal budget process.
through the normal budget?
That's just an idea. I don't know if that's what you were.
I like that. That's what I'm thinking.
So that's your motion?
Yeah.
Do we have a second? Have a second by Commissioner Allen. Any further discussion?
And the motion, would you repeat the motion, please?
To take this through the normal budget process.
To include consideration of this request as part of the normal budgeting process.
So we'll get the Veterans Office as one of the departments like we do all the other departments and consider it at that time.
Commissioner Bochamp.
So we want Mr. Nation to fill out his budget to include that $10,000 increase. Because I know at commission, we made a motion for $10,000 that got voted down.
We
What-
voted that down 3 times.
Yeah, where's the number at that we're gonna ask
Well,
him to put in
the recommendation from the Veterans Committee was 20%, which is the $10,400 raise.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I know that's where we were at
Right.
commission, and then it got voted down, so I just want Mr. Nations to know what should he put in his budget to bring to us. So we want the 10,400.
How do you handle that, Robbie? So
Well, I hate to say this, but I would ask him to come to the budget hearings, which we would deliberate this one more time. I mean, yes, that's the process normally. Unless you all approved it. I mean, you know, it came with a recommendation from their committee. The reason all this got convoluted is it went on the consent agenda, and it never should have. It should have gotten sent straight to budget to begin with. And I don't even think 75% of the commissioners knew this ever passed in the consent agenda. And so when it was brought to my attention and asked to give the raise, I said, I don't have a funding source. I can't give the raise. And I mean, I have that under the 81 law, I have that right. So, I mean, that I would just wanted the funding source, and we tried 2 different times to get a funding source. We still don't have a funding source. But yes, that would be the procedure and budget. I mean, he would turn it in. I would probably go with a recommendation like what you asked. I mean, that's what they feel comfortable.
and then if this committee wants to reduce it or change it or whatever, they would do it at that time.
Yes.
With a bigger perspective of everybody else's budget
Yes.
request at that time. So. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if that's approved or not.
I just had a quick question. I can't even remember what meeting we were in now. But the question I was asked is who had put it on the agenda, put it under consent agenda. That was the question I was asked, and we asked them to do some research just to see, and I just wanted to know, did we ever get an answer for that?
Say that again.
Annette said she thought that Mr. Nation submitted the minutes just to her.
Just asking for clarification, because it was a question that was asked, and we never got an answer. Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Smalley?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm going to support the motion, but during the budget process, I would certainly consider maybe a special, any request we would put in, any funding we would put in.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no.
No.
We'll do a hand vote. All in favor, raise your hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 no. Motion passes. Next item.
Okay, Mr. Alley, I mean, I think in the commission meeting, Denise had requested that Johnny come to budget we passed a motion last month in commission about a 4-year reappraisal, and they just wanted, I think Denise's, Commissioner Palmer, your request for Johnny to come to commission to kind of explain that.
Yes.
Some explanation. So I invited him to come.
Johnny.
Why'd you bring that?
Johnny,
Oh, we've asked you to do too much.
Oh, Lordy. I can't absorb any more information this year. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, there's another one. Thank you.
Donnie, I can't consume all this right now, so you're gonna have to give us the cliff notes.
This just for
Thank you for allowing me to be here to speak, but I'm here to just give a status update from the Property Assessor's Office.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I better wait, Sherry.
We can share.
I already handed, I think this is in the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
There's a couple different ones in there. That's fine.
They have that.
They do good.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, yes, we got one, yes.
Thank you all for allowing me to speak. I'm really here to give us just a status update for the Property Assessor's Office and the reappraisal cycle. There's a lot going on, and I know that the 4-year was approved at County Commission, but that was just one step. The next step is to get County Commission's approval for the 4-year plan, which I've handed out, and those just came back. If it gets tweaked and this weekend, or maybe I'll have another new one Monday to give, because I'm coming to operations and then to full commission. And then from there, if it's approved, it'll go on to the State Board of Equalization for approval at that point. So even if we approve it, they might not like some, that's in the plan, or, there might be some limitations that they have they're going to say, but I think where everything looks good right now, and then they would kick that back to correct that or update something, but that's why I'm trying to get it all done as we go, so I think everything looks good. I guess the one thing that I am going to probably ask for, and I am asking for in this proposal, is this the map in the blue papers. It's called Eagle View. It's a pictometry. It's a oblique imagery. It's a new mapping system. It's an upgrade in technology. I had looked at it, up to 5 years ago, but Blount County's got it, Roane, Knox, a lot of the surrounding counties, Sullivan, Washington, Davidson County use it. It's a 1-inch imagery, and we can use it in the review cycle. It works well with the Esri that we have now. It's got a change finder. It'll show a change from 1 year to the next when the flights are taken, to show if there's something added on to a house or any kind of structure that's new. It'll pick it up. So it's in the.
It's in your, I put it in your packet.
Yeah.
The Eagle View.
Yeah, they fly. It's the angles that they fly at the homes. It also would help the zoning, the police. Our zoning downstairs uses our mapping system anyway, so they would be able to link in. There's no limit as to the number of other departments that can get this mapping system. I think Roane County Commission voted to let their assessor manage it and then give it to all the other utilities like CUB, Powell Clinch, Oak Ridge Utility. It's just a very nice upgrade to the system we have now. It's kind of, the 1-inch imagery is the latest that's out there. One of the other pamphlets that I gave you was from Deckard Technology. It says it's where there's a price proposal. It's written on the front of it there. There's a new, I guess it was an unfunded mandate that I was given this year. It's come in a couple of years ago. It's for short-term rentals. We're supposed to be picking those up for tangible personal property, and the ones that, if they've got multiples, where they come in at 40% for rental properties. The company there's Deckard Technology. They use a program, I think it's called RentalScape. I'd like to obtain that program if I can. There's been a couple out, and I've been hesitant to change because all the counties it's went with, there was a company called GovOS that they've left, and everybody's starting to go with Deckard, and Anderson County probably needs to get on board with picking up the short-term rentals. They're estimating the first year at roughly $75,000 or $76,000 that the county would make, and the system's only $5,000. I mean, that's the last one we were quoted was $25,000 with the GovOS, and that's why I hesitated. But this one, it'll tell you the owner, where you can mail the tax information to. It'll tell you how many times they're renting it and how much money they're making a year, and that'll help us if there's ever an appeal. We can use the income approach. We'll have the information as to what they're making if they think that we're overvaluing their properties. And the latest one that's came out, and we can use the map and the Eagle View with this, but I'm more or less going to send it out to our campgrounds and to our mobile home parks. There's a new rule that we're supposed to pick up campers and motor homes and things of that nature that people are living in, and it's been I guess it came to me as I shall do it, so I don't have an option. I have to mail out those forms, and then the mobile home park owners or the campground owners that's got people permanently living that's hooked onto a utility like gas, water, electric, sewer, then we're supposed to pick those up as living dwellings, where prior that law was anything under 300 square feet we couldn't. It was not taxable, but now it is, and especially with the rise of tiny homes. Some counties have got subdivisions of tiny homes that prior to this were not taxable, but now they are. So that's why I would use, pictometry can help with that. Of course, visual inspection will never leave, and we're going to have field workers, but it's a good tool to find properties with fences and lock gates and things of that nature. And the police and fire can use it for finding windows to access, all different points. And I'm going to present this to the EMS, fire, and the utility companies in the cities as well. Anyway, that's I know it's a lot of information. I didn't expect you to make any moves on it tonight, but I want to get out ahead and get this all out because we've got a lot. We've got a lot. And if you got any questions, call me anytime because I can usually talk through it pretty quickly as what we're looking at and the direction I'd like to take the county, and I hope you all will too, as far as getting some of that new technology and that mapping. It's a good tool, and I'm really tired of the other counties rubbing it in because they got the oblique imagery, and I don't get to look at it. But no, I think it's a good program.
Well, and if I understand this correctly, so with this Eagle View software, it picks up. So right now, Johnny's people have to go out and inspect each. They do a certain number of homes each year. This tells them what home is added in addition. So they only have to go look at those homes now. This software would. So it kind of cuts down on some of their work. Helps with some of it, and with us going from a 5-year to a 4-year appraisal, and then hopefully after that less. So it would help with that too, because that's more work in 4 years than we were doing 5. But when he mentioned utilities and the cities, the emergency E911 could use this. We might have a possibility of funding this and charging them some for it too, because it can help them a lot. And it's a good system for. We've been emailing this Trent Pell for the last 3 days. Catherine has, and there's a lot of possibilities with this, and which we're not discussing funding or anything tonight. But and if they aren't a sole source, then we would have to bid it out anyway. So, and we put the sole source out on. They have 15 days or so many days to respond before that can happen. So anyway.
So what's the total on
The total is, it's $88,012.50 a year. So the first project would be it's equal annual payments for 2 years of 88, and then 2 more years of 88. It's $88,012.50 each year for this. So it's not cheap.
That's with a 2-year flyover. If you do a 3-year flyover, I think that drops about $20,000 to a 3-year flyover. That's why the 2 budget proposals they sent in.
So when you told us at the commission meeting, when we moved from a 5 to a 4, we missed what, 1.5 million? Is that what you said? We didn't
With the ratio for the
Okay.
5-year, yes. That's what was Gabe when he presented that slideshow. He estimated 1.5 million.
And he's recalculating that as we speak so I can have it for operations and for full commission too.
So we'll be bringing in a little bit more money.
Going on a 4-year, yes.
Going on a 4-year, so that might soften this a little bit.
Right.
And like I said, we can do you got a 2-year flyover of 3. I mean, you can do an annual, but I didn't see any need in that. A lot of counties do a 2-year flyover, and with they call it image extractions, I guess, the change finder. It'll highlight what's new on that parcel that wasn't on there at the previous flyover. So that'll indicate that guys go out before they go out in the field. They'll look at the map and they see that, and they'll mark their card. They'll know that hey, there's something extra over here, and if it's behind the fence, we can measure it from out. We can measure it from space. And image extractions I was talking about, the division is wanting us to, and we not have the time to do it, but they want us to put 2 to 4 photos on each property record card of each house, and this system will automatically do that, so I won't have to have another employee to handle all that information. It automatically puts those photos on the property record card of each individual card, and that's just another feature that comes in with this Eagle View.
So this is just for our information right
All
now?
this
We're not
is- yeah,
voting on it?
it is.
Okay.
and I don't know, Robbie, when you wanted me to try to go through this regular budget process on that.
You can, yes, sir.
I mean, there's no big rush on that like there is the 4-year plan. And I just want to get that to you, and I'm gonna, like I said, that one just came in 30 minutes before I came up here today. The state finalized it, and I've not had a chance to go through it to see if it's everything I like in there, because if it's not, I'm gonna tweak it a little and send it back. But if I do, you'll get an updated copy. But I wanted to kind of get that in your hand, because it's a pretty big document, but a lot of it's just language that shows what we do, and then. But that is the plan for a 4-year reappraisal, moving from a 5 to a 4. We're doing our review. We've got it set to do now in 3 years and do a reappraisal on the 4th, whereas before we reviewed for 4 years and then reappraised on the 5th. So we're doing 20-25% more review work each year to pick that up. Instead of doing 25% a year, we're going to use we're going to do 33 1/3 of the county.
Commissioner Smollers.
Yeah, you said 88,000 a year for 3 years?
That's for 2 years, a 2-year flyover.
That's a 2-year
So
flyover.
a 3-year might be would be cheaper than that,
It's
maybe
gonna-
66 or.
So that's the implementation cost for
That's the
for
cost
us.
each year, actually.
That's annual
That's
cost for that.
Anderson County.
For that
Yeah.
mapping system. And I don't think, I don't want to speak out because I don't know, but I think I might be able to do this 4-year reappraisal, same number of employees I have today. I'm not positive. I don't want to say that because I might reserve if I get into it, and it's uncharted waters. We've never been there before. And some have mentioned a 3, but a 3 was a big bite. And I think there's a resolution at the state that Anderson and Roane stay on the same cycle for the city of Oak Ridge. I think that was passed like 25 years ago. So Roane decided they want to go with 4, so that and I was fine with that. That's a baby step compared to jumping into a 3-year, which could, I mean, there's counties out there going to a 3-year that's asking for 4 employees. There's counties that going to from a 5 to 4 that's asking for 2 and 3 employees. But I think we can manage it.
Have you heard anything from Campbell County?
I mean, I've talked to them. They're on a different reappraisal cycle than us. So
Because you got Rocky Top, part of it.
yeah, I think there's just 15 parcels in there though that they have. So we didn't. There's not any. That was forced at the state level before I got her in. I think they did that a few years ago. And there's got these set up. I mean, some of these booklets are for public works, and then some are for just like property assessor for the assessment, what they use it for. And then the other papers with the certified tax rate compliance, it tells everything that goes into for the certified tax rate. That's comptroller sends. That's why it's dated March 4th. They're ahead of themselves, but they will make sure I got it on time.
So are you needing any votes tonight on anything?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right.
Unless you just want to give me everything I asked for. No. This is for information, and I'm just glad you listened to me, and I appreciate it. Appreciate all you do.
I'm sure we'll be talking about it more.
All right, thank you. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Charlie.
You got anybody got any questions with it? It's a lot. I mean, but there's a lot going on right now.
Thank you, Johnny.
Our county our attorney that I've been using for my appeals passed away unexpectedly last week, Bobby Lee. So I'm in the process of finding counsel to handle it. And we just settled, in the last 2 months, we just settled, and he was actually signed one the day he passed away. We settled nine appeals in the last month and a half, so we've just got 4 or 5 left right now. But thank you.
Thank you, John. Next item, Mayor Frank, sale of properties and fire truck resolution. Mayor, you have the floor.
Just on the sale of properties, you all took some funds from the sign fund tonight, and that fund was set up to really be a place to put some extra funds for capital projects, construction needs, things like that. And so you did one amendment with the rollover to add back to that. And so what I was suggesting, just because this sale is so big that perhaps you, instead of it rolling into fund balance, you go ahead and assign that to that project fund as well. So that's what I was asking for, and I don't know until we close all of the properties what the amount would be, so that's why my motion was just suggesting that upon closure of all the sales from the January 15th auction, that the finance director be authorized to move the net revenues of the sale into that fund. We're doing really well. Thank you, as I put in the letter, to the law director's office, especially Morgan, who has just really been doing a lot of deed work on this. We closed 2 properties today. They were the big ones for $144,000 for those. And the benefit of these sales is we're also getting the the property tax that's been owed for so long. So we're getting a win-win on both sides. So that was just a humble suggestion for the committee.
Commissioner Beauchamp moves to approve.
Motion, Mr. Chairman, now I'm all backwards. Don't mess with my brain
That's
and
all
you let
right.
Johnny get up
It's
here.
it's been one of those days. We're going to call that section D1.
Of everything the mayor said.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Is that good, guys?
You got it,
Calling it
Robbie.
D1?
Okay.
Do it.
Second on anybody yet?
Do we have a second?
I'll second
Yeah.
it.
Seconded by Commissioner Vandegrift. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
And then the next one, Mr. Chairman, I was just making sure that there was some kind of official notification. I know Commissioner Beauchamp serves on Fire Commission as the vice chair, I believe. Is that?
No.
Secretary?
No, I'm not.
No, I thought you were an
I'm
officer.
nothing.
Okay.
I'm just a body.
Okay. Well, I do know that because the fire truck resolution expired, I put all of that history in your budget agenda on that. That there is a desire to, okay, how do we distribute that going forward? And so I just wanted to kind of put a placeholder on the budget for those funds and just make sure that that communication was carried forth. And I think Commissioner Beauchamp, I saw an email from Commissioner Wandell, probably had the same intent tonight. I just
Yes.
went ahead and formalized it in the budget agenda packet, so.
I can give you a little bit of insight.
Okay.
We had a meeting Tuesday, and our discussion is how do we fund our fire departments? You know, they're struggling right now. They're struggling with volunteers. They're struggling with equipment, and we did a great job. If you haven't come to a fire commission meeting, I encourage you to do so. The atmosphere is just great, and they talk about wonderful things that they're doing in the community. The radios that we put through for them, they are so happy about the radios. Like, we have really helped them a lot with that and help with the communication. So we're looking at ways that we can fund our volunteer fire departments and how we can do that continuously from here on out. I know we gave them money from the ARP and things like that, but how can we help them with their trucks? If we're not going to buy them a fire truck, can we help them get equipment? Can we help them pay for a monthly payment on a new truck or whatever? They're willing to do this stuff, but they need our help to do so. So we're in, talks. Do we put them in a line item in the budget? I think Commissioner Wandell, as the chairman, is going to bring proposal to us, from the Fire Commission on things like that of what do we need to do to help all of our fire departments out continuously to keep doing that. I know the mayor's put through a fire study, so we're waiting for all that just to kind of get like what are we lacking in, where do we need to put funds. So that's going to help us a lot to determine a lot of where this money needs to go. But that was our discussion Tuesday night of, is there a way to put them in the budget as a line item to where they're getting funded every year? They don't have to keep coming to us for piecemealing and giving them funds. So I think Commissioner Wandell will be bringing that for the budget committee when we start the process of that. And then we look forward to the fire study report from when the mayor gets it. I think it's March, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
That'd be during the budget process.
Yeah.
Any further comments on that?
Just another thing to consider during budget season is all of this will be a discussion point. So.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Next item, budget calendar for 25-26.
Speaking of budget, so last month we had budget calendar, and I've changed a few dates. We're hoping to get the budget packets to each department tomorrow, after you all approve this today, and because we already have it ready. Paul's worked really hard on that, and By the way, we had a, I explained to the finance committee, I'm sure I've explained to this committee, but we have some older employees in our office. I probably shouldn't say older, seasoned. I'm one of
Thank you. They have
them, over
history.
60 and 4 to be exact. And so we have some looking at retirement in the next year. So I need a succession plan for our office because I don't want to set this office up for failure. You guys would kill me. So we promoted Paul to the assistant to the finance director this week ago. And John is also training and to learn stuff that Randy and I both do in our department so that we can be more successful later, hopefully, with the employees that are younger. So anyway, Paul's learning budget, and he's already taken off with it. So we're doing
Great job, Paul.
It's doing great. And John's working on 263 fund because Randy's the only one that had any knowledge on that, and he's doing a really good job with that. So we are working on that. I just want y'all to know that. But anyway, one thing, this budget season, I think will be a very challenging budget season for us, as you all can already tell. Before we even gotten started, we have some things on the agenda, and the direction of the economy, inflation, impact of inflation, and I just think, our budget guidelines have been about the same for the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm not sure I'd change them this year. Just go with a no increase, and departments that want an increase, other than contracts sometimes go up, we allow stuff like that. They just put a note in telling us what's going up, and we're not picky about that. But like salary increases, things like that, we do ask them to come to this committee. I mean, and I will say, Mark is a good example. He did ask for a couple of increases in his budget last year. I emailed and told him he needed to come to this. I wanted to work with him, but the process was to come before the budget committee. He didn't respond back to me. So if you don't respond back, you don't get it. I'm not just saying that about him, for anybody. So. But that's the steps, and I'll be happy to keep the guidelines the same as they are. And basically, it's number 2. Expenses should be estimated based on actual expenditures and adjusted for anticipated changes. Departments should submit a no increase budget. The third bullet is the key bullet there. And that hasn't changed in the last. We did ask for a cut 2 or 3 years ago, but it's been a no increase, except for contract prices, which have gone up. Or they come to the committee, like the sheriff's department did 2 years ago, and they needed, I believe that was $1.something million in increases for salaries. And I will say this, it has worked well. We don't have a lot of turnover in the deputies. We never have. We do in the detention facility, and I don't think any amount of money is going to change that, personally. So, I do think the steps, I agree with Commissioner White. We have done some things, and I think they've been good things, and I would stand behind that, and I think the sheriff would too. So anyway, I just would like the guidelines, and the schedule is just tentative. We can change we can add dates, we can take dates away. So I didn't include a third. I usually do a second meeting in March, but I decided not to this year. I'm just going to try to do it on budget. I think we've gotten good enough at budgets where we can do that. If we see we need another budget meeting, we'll call one later. And also with the reappraisal, it's going to be a little bit slower process because we don't get that till Johnny's not here anymore, till later on in the budget season, after the budget season. So if y'all have any questions or comments, I'd be glad to.
Robbie, do you need a motion on this?
Yes,
or
to approve the calendar and the guidelines.
Guidelines.
Commissioner Beauchamp moves to approve the budget guidelines for 25-26 fiscal year. Do we have a second?
And the calendar. I'll second.
In the calendar, seconded by Commissioner Vandegrift. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
Thank you. And the last thing I have on here is the Fire Commission Secretary. Apparently, I researched it today. In May, in the County Commission meeting, I think actually Commissioner Beauchamp did the Fire Commission minutes that meeting. There was a recommendation from the Veterans Commission, Fire Commission, I'm sorry, I'm getting commissions mixed up. The Fire Commission to pay a secretary $100 a meeting, $1,200 for a year, and that passed. But Commission didn't make a motion to accept. It was on the regular agenda. The minutes were pulled, but no motions were made. It's never been to budget. I have discussed this a lot with Tracy. I think Mr. Brooks has looked at it, and Jay looked at it before. So it's been everywhere. And this man has been doing the minutes, and so I included the budget amendment if we wanted to take $1,200 out of unassigned and put in EMA and add a cost center for fire commission committee secretary or for minute taking. So it is a volunteer at one of the fire departments that is doing the job, so it's not really an employee. It could be a contract for us. I think that's what Mr. Brooks was working out, whether it's a contract or an employee.
And he got that contract Tuesday.
Okay.
Tracy had sent it over to him, so.
So I just need the money put in place for us to pay that contract if this committee approves that action.
Commissioner Beauchamp moves to approve item number, we'll call it section F.
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion?
I have a couple of questions.
Commissioner Palmer.
Are there any other committees or boards that pay their secretary?
Yes.
Which
several.
ones?
The Conservation Board does.
Okay.
And they always have. It's been probably 20 years or more if they've had a secretary. But they also are not just taking minutes. They work with the park manager with payments and revenue, and they have to file an annual report. They do a lot more than just minute taking in that position.
Okay. So I was thinking like E911.
The Charter Commission did, because we hired Annette to do that back in the
Okay.
day. I'm not thinking of everyone.
Does the 911 board or?
I don't know. They're not,
Okay.
and they're not part of the county. IT, when it was a committee, has a person. We have some departments that pay supplements or small stipends for, like, they do their finance work or things like that, and they probably took minutes in those meetings. But we do have some departments that do.
And this amount's in line with what we pay the other ones?
This is, yes, I think so.
They have a designated secretary on the fire commission.
Cameron James.
Okay.
And he's wonderful.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
If he misses a meeting and somebody else fills in, how does that work?
Well, in the email from Tracy wanted this to be a one-time payment for $1,200. So I don't know how that would work, unless we just paid quarterly, and if somebody different did them, we would pay them. Maybe that would have to be. I don't know.
They didn't say anything. I mean, he's always there.
It's not, but we can adjust the contract, so if you want to make it quarterly, monthly, it's set up as annual because that's how it was requested.
Okay.
He's been to every
I mean,
meeting, so.
It's really neither there or me. I was just wondering how that would work.
So if he gets it all for the year, then he would be responsible for paying his replacement?
I mean, that would probably, good question.
I'm just wondering.
That's our law director's job. No.
I don't know. What do you say? Not talking about that.
All right, any further discussion?
I don't, okay.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Any new business to come before the committee?
Can I ask John a question real quick?
Sure.
John, do you think that? No, John. John, do you think with Trump's, talking about some grants going away, do you think that's going to affect us in any kind of way with any of our grants that we're getting?
When I looked at the original memo that came out, it didn't look like that we had any grants that would be affected because we don't touch on any of those subjects that he has put out. It's anything that basically he's put out an executive order on that says we're not doing this, we're not doing that. A lot of the DEI things, those types of things we don't really touch on inside the county. Yeah. So I don't think that at this time there's nothing that could affect us. Now, if another memo goes out and he puts another blanket freeze on things where they're going to evaluate a lot of that stuff, there could be an issue. Now, I can't speak to what the schools have.
Yeah.
They may have some grants that may be affected because a lot of those education grants are much more broad and some of the focuses that they have, but the ones the county has specifically, there's not anything at this time that I saw based on that memo.
Great. I just didn't know if we needed to start preparing for some of
No,
that,
but
or-
there was a little bit of a scare because some, obviously we do get grants that are funneled through the state that are federal.
Yeah.
And so there were some activities that were put on hold temporarily while they evaluated, and then they came back off hold. So there could be disruptions. I don't think that there's anything specific that the county is doing on a grant that would be pulled back or canceled or
Yeah.
anything like that. But that's not to say that they couldn't or wouldn't go in and maybe axe a whole grant program regardless of our specific activity.
Gotcha. Just wanted to check and see if you knew what we should prepare
Yeah, and
for.
generally speaking, if they do go back and do that, they would have a hard time saying the activities that we already did, we can't get reimbursed for. It would be, they would set a date. Most of them have a 30 to 60 day cancellation policy built into them. So we would continue activities for the next 30 to 60 days from that notice, continue filing, and then go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John. Any more new business?
Just a reminder for the commissioners, their workshops tomorrow. 8:30. 8:30 in room 118A.
Oh, I thought they said the senior center.
It's been it's been moved to 118A because of the audio equipment. Yeah.
Any more new business? Do we have any unfinished business coming before the committee? Hearing none, do we have any business at all to come before the committee?
Motion to adjourn.
Hearing none, we are adjourned.